Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about how to overcome depression. We're going to talk about different tips about how you can fight it, how you can overcome it, how you can work with it, and what to do if you feel like it's getting the best of you. But before we begin, don't forget to click on the subscribe button or the notification bell in order to get more of this type of content talking about health and wellness and even nutrition. Okay, so the first thing I want to suggest that you do is that you sit with yourself to figure out why you're depressed. What's the cause? Oftentimes, people who have a tendency towards depression can be people who perhaps are more introverted, or people who don't talk about their feelings as much, or just perhaps you are going through something that you feel that you can't do anything about, and so you're pushing your emotions down. And so the first thing would really be to just sit with yourself and allow yourself to feel the emotion. You might cry, you might feel angry, or you might just start to understand why are you depressed, because usually there is some kind of reason that you're depressed. There's something causing it, especially if this is something that's cyclical or that you haven't always been depressed. Really kind of trying to figure out the cause, because perhaps if this is an external cause, if it's something that you can change. What if you're in a job that's making you totally depressed and there is a way to ask for a transfer, or you can get another job, or you can find a way to like your job more. So finding the source and getting in touch with your emotions is really going to be the first step. The reason we call it, depressed, if you think about it, is because you're pressing down on your own emotions. You're depressing your own emotions. You're not letting them come up. You're not letting them come out. And over time, this can really, start to weigh in. You'll feel this heavy energy and emotionality. You'll feel physically stuck, emotionally stuck. So let's figure out the cause. Okay. Once you've kind of thought about if you can make a change to your external situation or not, the next thing to do is to figure out, is it that the situation is really bad, or is it the way I'm choosing to react to the situation? Can I maybe work on my thoughts around this situation? Perhaps you're in a job that you don't really like, that's very tedious and boring, but you know that this job has got an end. Or maybe you can tell yourself, okay, the situation is not going to be forever. It's only going to be for 3 months. So for 3 months, I can find a way to work on how I'm thinking about this or how I'm reacting to this. So that's the second stage, is really seeing if there is a way for you to react differently. If maybe you're, allowing yourself to think that this is going to last forever, but it's not, and not coming to terms with the fact that this might be just as a transition and you don't need to take it so harshly. Okay. The next question is, can I express myself more in this situation? Perhaps you're depressed not because of an overarching situation that you're pushing your feelings down, but because you have a general tendency to not express yourself, to not express when you're angry, to not express when you're sad, to not express when you're happy. You keep yourself in neutral because it's safe, because you want to please others, because you don't like conflict, or you don't like getting to extreme emotions. But I want to encourage you to kind of live out the variety of emotions that you have more, in order to feel more balanced. When you're angry, if you express it, obviously in constructive ways, on the spot, like saying no, or I don't like that, or no, I'm not willing to do that, then you're not going to press those emotions in, and you'll be able to let go of that emotion because you put it out there. You didn't, swallow it inside of you, and you kind of advocated for yourself, which is a really big thing in depression, is, making sure that you're advocating for yourself. You're not allowing people to take advantage of you. You're not allowing yourself to be abused. And also another thing that, perhaps you're depressed because you're so empathic that you're putting other people's needs before your own. So really starting to express your own needs and make them a priority, and not feel like you always need to put other people's needs or being reasonable before your well-being. Okay. Now let's talk about more practical ways to deal with depression. There are diversions that you can do. You know, it could be, if you are a person that's been depressed for a very long time, you might have more of a overall condition of depression that you've gotten used to. You've gotten used to the way it feels to be depressed. You've gotten used to the way it feels to be numb. You've gotten yourself so used to being depressed, you don't even remember how to feel happy. You don't remember how to feel angry. You don't remember how to have a diversity of emotions anymore. So you've kind of numbed yourself in this place and gotten used to this place. You don't know how to break out of it. So you might need to fake it till you make it by starting to experience yourself otherwise. So begin to learn how to divert. Today I'm unhappy. Okay, I am going to go to some kind of class that's got a more happy, positive vibe, whether that's a pottery making class or that's a basketball game, right? But starting to change your energy from depressed to consciously putting yourself in happy situations and taking your mind off of whatever is making you depressed and allowing yourself to not give in to the depression. Practice new emotions. So consciously practice being optimistic, being hopeful, believing that there's a purpose or meaning to the things that happen. So as opposed to going, oh my God, I'm just going to be poor forever, saying, you know what, this is just a period, and I know that I'm going to break out of this, and this period is not forever. Or if there's, something bad going on outside of you, whether it's a war or a pandemic or whatever, situation you're finding yourself externally, thinking to yourself, maybe your old tendency was to be like, oh my God, this is going to take years. This is going to last forever. This is the end of the world. No, breaking that thought pattern and going, logically, let me think about this logically. Let me look at history. In history, pandemics lasted normally 3 or 4 years. Historically, wars never lasted more than 3 or 4 years. None of these things lasted forever. And really starting to talk down that, all or nothing depressed thinking and using your mind to be more logical and say, hey, no, it doesn't usually last forever. Talking hope into your thoughts. Allowing yourself to realize that usually these situations don't last forever, and then you're actually going to attract that energy to yourself, whether it's the people or the opportunities or just the overall sense of activities you're going to do. You're going to bring a new energy in by practicing kind of this enhanced hopefulness, and then of course gratitude, starting to look at all the good things in your life, starting to notice what's good instead of paying only attention to things that are scaring you, that are depressing you. Okay. On that note, exercise. Exercise is a really positive and healthy thing. Even when you go to psychology school, one of the things that you look at is the scientific literature around how exercise improves mood. So having an exercise routine is really going to help you with your moods. It's going to take you out of your mind. It's going to give you, you're going to increase your oxygen. You're going to get the blood flowing. It's just going to move stagnant energy, blood flow. So exercise. The next thing, put yourself in positive environments. If you are depressed, get out there or get on a Zoom call or, do something that's positive. So instead of throwing yourself into negative environments, so for instance, the news, get off the news or only read positive news stories about travel or about positive things that are going out there. Consciously filter out the kind of news that you let into your life. Whether that's negative movies, instead of watching a movie about a mass murderer or a documentary about, all the con men, watch something about, a village in Denmark that is very artistic, or just start filling your mind with positive things. When you go to bed at night, don't watch depressing things, only watch happy comedy, cooking shows, basketball, whatever, makes you happy, but make sure it's positive. Just the movies you choose, the books you choose, start choosing more positive things and start being conscientious about what it is that you're reading and watching. It's okay if you like action, if you like healing, if you like all these things, if you can handle it. If you feel that you're generally a depressed person, then maybe it is time for you to break that cycle and to vary it more and not let yourself be as much into that. It really depends on your personal constitution and how you're reacting to those things. The next thing is finding a purpose, meaningfulness in life. If you've ever read any of Viktor Frankl's books, he was a Holocaust survivor, and one of the things that he realized as a psychiatrist being in the concentration camps is that the people that survived and kept the best mental attitude were the people that were able to find meaning, create meaning, find a reason to live, find a purpose, think about what they were going to do in the future, think about the people they love. So doing things that are meaningful, like helping others, volunteering, finding a job that gives you more meaning, but having something in your life that feels like it's got a higher purpose will take you out of this me-centeredness, me, and start putting your mind on helping or doing something positive in the world, and that will take you out of that depression. Okay, company. You could be depressed because you spend too much time alone, because you don't have support, you don't have love. So, if you're living a solitary lifestyle, maybe you need to move into a situation with roommates. Maybe if you're divorced, it's time to find a new partner. Maybe if you're single, it's time to start dating. Or maybe it's just time to, do some activities where you make some friends around an activity. But don't isolate. Go to your religious community or your spiritual community. Start being around more people and you'll automatically feel better. You'll get outside of yourself and you'll feel less isolated. Stay in the present tense. Depression often comes from regretting the past. Depressive anxiety comes from worrying about the future. Really, just staying in the here and now can help you not worry so much, not be so fearful, not be so scared. And doing things like meditation, where you take your mind off and you just relax it, deep breath work will all help you. Okay, I hope these tips have been helpful, but if they haven't, I do want to point out to you, when what I'm putting out to you in this video, if it's not helping, or if you feel like you've been depressed for a long time, or even worse, if you find yourself starting to think about harming yourself or others, if you've thought about suicide, or you even have had a plan for suicide before, then it's time to get immediate help. And the ways you can get immediate help are the following. You can call a local suicide hotline. Many of these can be found easily on the internet, usually free. You can even be anonymous. And there's wonderful, beautiful people that will listen to you, that will help you get through the hump. You can find a local therapist. There are therapists that will take people on sliding scale if you're worried about the finances. There are even online therapies and coaches that specialize in depression now that can help you online. So don't hesitate to ask for help. And if none of that works for you, even just calling a close friend or family member or a pastoral counselor or religious member and telling them that you're afraid you're harming yourself or your depression is getting really bad. Let other people into your world. Don't go at this alone. It will make such a difference. Okay, I would love it if you do have tips that have helped you when you have depression. If you could put them in the comment section below so that we can all learn from each other, how we've overcome the things that we've done that really help us when we're down, then we could create a beautiful community. Wishing you many blessings and happiness.